This podcast is sponsored by our good friends at DexShirts.com. Check out DexShirts.com for a great selection of awesome movie-themed t-shirts. And as an exclusive offer to listeners of What's Your Favorite Movie, use the promo code WYFMovie at the checkout and get 20% off your entire order. For unique and exclusive t-shirts inspired by nostalgia, pop culture, and iconic movies, that's DexShirts.com, D-E-X, shirts.com.
Thanks a lot, guys. Merry Christmas. Get the crowbar and hammer, Ralphie. Fragile. It must be Italian.
Well, I think that says fragile, honey.
Oh, yeah.
Greetings, and thank you for joining us on this episode of What's Your Favorite Movie? This is a podcast celebrating our relationships with movies, film fandom, favorite movies, and why we love them so much. If you like talking about movies, or better yet, like hearing other people talk about movies, you've come to the right place. My name is Ed South, and you can follow me on Twitter, @EdSouth, or better yet, follow our show, WYF Movie Podcast, for all kinds of links, pictures, and other fun stuff we discuss on the show. My guest today is someone who loves movies and television so much, she's made a career out of writing and talking about TV and movies, specifically Christmas entertainment. She's been seen on television offering her insights on History Channel's The Real Story of Christmas, as well as the TV special 25 Most Hilarious Holiday Moments. She's also written several books on the subject of filmed Christmas entertainment, including her newest book, which is about a favorite movie we've talked about several times on this show, called The Triple Dog Dare, Watching and Surviving the 24-Hour Marathon of A Christmas Story. Please welcome from ChristmasTVHistory.com, Joanna Wilson. Joanna, how are you this evening?
I'm very good, Ed. How are you?
Great, and thank you so much for doing the show. And I love Christmas stuff, and I'm a big fan of your website, and always finding out about new movies and TV shows to track down. And so I thought I'd ask you. Yeah, so I thought I'd ask you to come and talk about favorite movies, because I'm sure you've got a long list of favorite movies, perhaps Christmas and not Christmas.
Absolutely. try to shut me up.
No. So in the book, you talk about how this project came about. The book Double Dog Dare is about you watching A Christmas Story, the 1983 film that airs on TBS every Christmas over and over again for 24 hours. So you recreated the experience, and you talk about in the book how that project came about. But first, I want to go back further than that and tell me where your love of the holiday season comes from. Where did that all begin?
Well, I'm a TV junkie from way back. I'm a part of that generation that was sort of raised in front of the television set, and have always watched TV. And I fell in love with watching old black and white Hollywood movies on the television set. And when I went to college, I studied film in school, got a BA in film, and I've always loved film, and always pop culture has been my second language.
Right.
Christmas entertainment is, it's special. You connect to it. And when I was growing up, you only saw it once a year.
Right.
This
Same
was
here.
Before VHS tapes and before DVDs.
Right.
And it was rare and precious, and so it actually. I really got into Christmas entertainment sort of from another book. I got a book as a gift. It was Rick Goldschmidt's history of the Rankin Bass Animation Company.
Oh, okay, cool.
And Rankin Bass made about 20 Christmas specials, although they also made TV commercials and Saturday morning cartoon series and theatrical release movies and a bunch of other things, all animated. But I was looking at that book, The History of Animation, by this company, and I began to use the table of contents as a checklist to go back and rewatch a lot of these specials that I hadn't seen in a long time, or sometimes I'd never seen them. And I began to pay special attention to the Christmas entertainment, and there's a special connection we have with, Christmas entertainment from our youth. And then rewatching these things, I wanted to see what else had been written about Christmas entertainment. And at that time, there was very little to nothing, and so I just sort of turned my own personal project of pursuing these old animated specials and TV movies and TV episodes, turned that into the research that became the encyclopedia, Choose a Season TV.
That's awesome. The kids today don't realize that a cartoon not all Christmas specials are cartoons, but obviously when we were little, those are the ones we kind of attracted to the most, but when there was when there was a cartoon on at nighttime, that was a huge deal, at least in my household. Like if Charlie Brown or Bugs Bunny or, heaven forbid, a Disney cartoon was actually on TV at nighttime, that was a huge deal. And
those animated Winnie the Pooh specials that were on in prime time, or any of the Charlie Brown specials. Yeah, I mean everything came to a screeching halt while
exactly.
we watched those. Yeah. Whatever the holiday, whether it was Easter or it was just the summertime or it was, Mother's Day, whatever it was, whatever special occasion, those were precious times.
When I was younger, I recall there being more other holiday specials too, and that practice seems to have almost completely faded away. You don't really see Valentine specials, except the Charlie Brown one still hangs on, but there used to be a Bugs Bunny one and a Family Circus one, and Halloween.
Yeah, whatever happened to that?
Yeah, Halloween and Easter.
It would be great if they just even showed those ones.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
I would, totally tune in, and I'd be attracted to that.
Well,
they were.
I
have kinds of specials.
I have them all on DVD, so my kids have been forced to watch all of them every year. They know the Charlie Brown Arbor Day special pretty well.
Oh my goodness, that's right.
And you'll find I have a really bizarre cavern of obscure television and film knowledge. Didn't Rankin Bass, well, for people that don't know, they did Rudolph and Frosty are their two big ones, but most of their stuff is stop motion, like Rudolph. Frosty is kind of the only traditional hand cell one they did, isn't it? To your knowledge?
Well, their Saturday morning cartoons were traditional, but yes, they're most known for their stop motion, which they called Animagic.
Right. It's also kind of interesting how, to a lot of people, claymation or stop motion animation is directly associated with Christmas. Like that's what people think of when they see claymation or stop motion, and a lot of shows, like I know Community and I think Home Improvement did stop motion episodes to kind of celebrate the old style of. I mean, people associate that with Christmas somehow. And
and animation just in general was often associated with some sort of special event,
right?
And Christmas entertainment certainly. But yeah, stop motion, and that proves the impact that Rankin Bass has had on. Even though Rankin Bass never worked in claymation, they only worked in stop motion.
Right.
But yes, people still connect all, whether it's claymation or it's stop motion, they connect that with Christmas.
Because A Nightmare Before Christmas is kind of, the whole thing is a tribute to those kind of Christmas specials that Tim Burton and they all grew up on. What was the moment where you saw that you could make a career out of talking about Christmas movies, talking and writing about Christmas? When did that kind of become your thing?
When I was doing my research on Christmas entertainment, I was going to libraries and video stores. At that time, VHS was still dominant in the marketplace. I was going to video stores, I was going to libraries. I was finding old tapes of these things, and I was documenting, what year these things were released. I was writing summaries. I was cataloging the cast members and that sort of thing, length, and I couldn't help but sort of talk about these things, with all my friends and my family members and whoever would sort of listen.
Right.
And I soon everybody began to follow me and ask me, well, what have you seen more recently? And I realized, wait a minute, it's not just me. There is a special connection. We all are sort of emotionally attached to these sorts of things. It's not just me.
Right, yeah.
And so with that, I sort of understood, this is something special. This isn't just, an average movie.
Right.
I mean, I've always been a movie fan, but there's something more to this material than just me. And so putting together the encyclopedia and the response immediately.
That's cool.
to the books that I wrote, people want to engage in conversations about these things, and they want to remember. An awful lot of people remember plots or cast members in movies from their past or that they've seen several years ago, but they often can't identify a title anymore. And so many of these Christmas movies, they have similar titles.
Right.
And even I get confused. I have to flip through my encyclopedia to figure out, which one is this one? So certainly, people want to talk about these things, and I'm glad to engage in that conversation with whoever is also like-minded.
And has Christmas then kind of taken over your life? Like, are you 12 months of the year looking at Christmas ornaments and looking at whenever you stumble upon something Christmassy? Or
I kind of am, and that's sort of I started as you pointed out, and it's certainly true. I started off as a TV researcher, and I studied film in school, and so I come at this as a pop culture junkie.
Mm-hmm.
But I've sort of turned into this Christmas lady that,
right.
I'm at the library carrying out an armful of Christmas DVDs in March
right.
and in August, and everybody now, when they see me, they know I'm the Christmas lady, and they're prepared to talk to me about whatever Christmas something they've seen or talked about. So I kind of live with Christmas year-round, and I've been doing this for more than a decade, so it feels I'm now in the normal phase of
right.
always being Christmas. But it's not a bad place to be.
No, that's great. Yeah, if you can stretch that out to 12 months of the year, that's awesome. Yeah. So in your book, your new book, The Triple Dog Dare, you decide to recreate the famous Christmas Story marathon that TBS. It kind of alternates between TBS and TNT, the other Turner network. One or the other does it, and they air it nonstop for 12 hours or 24 hours. So 12 screenings. And what I love, what really got me hooked on your book right away, and I was like, okay, this is my kind of people here, is the lengths that you went to recreate the marathon itself. Because when it's on television, it's about a 90-minute movie, but when it's on TV, it's 2 hours. So to me, you're doing the grunt work by watching the commercials in it too, because I can't stand watching commercials in movies, especially spoiled now with the DVR. I never see commercials anymore. But you went and tracked down, you were just looking for a copy of the movie with commercials in it, right?
Right, and I was not clever enough to record my own version from the television, which would have commercials. So of course I've been kicking myself ever since. I came up with this challenge to watch the full 24-hour marathon of A Christmas Story. Why didn't I record at least one?
At least one, right?
So I had to somehow acquire a loop, and I wanted to make sure I had the commercials too, or at least some commercials,
right?
So that, one, if you just stream it or you just watch it on DVD, it will loop 15 times
right.
in 24 hours. But when you watch it on television, it loops 12 hours. And to me, that seems like a hugely significant amount of time considering I'm constructing this thing. So I wanted to watch it 12 times and in 24 hours. And to be honest, when you're watching it, on TV, on the marathon, the commercials are also a part of the conversation. They're also what we interact with, whether we're with our families on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day and we're watching it, or we're, however we're watching it, the commercials are also a part of that dialogue. So I wanted to maintain that sort of authenticity.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I wanted a bathroom break. I wanted to be able to run to the kitchen, and get a snack, that kind of thing, which is also a part of the marathon experience. So, and I struggled to be able to find a copy or a means to watch it with commercials.
Right.
And I eventually had to buy a copy, and I got it off of eBay. And the only place I could find, it turns out it was on VHS.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily I have I have 3 different VHS players still. And
yeah, definitely.
they're all in working order, and I use them regularly.
Me too.
But I had to buy this one VHS tape in a lot of 38 other VHS tapes, so those are sitting here in a box.
Right.
And I've actually been, since I bought this and did this, I've been tinkering and looking in
Yeah.
them. I've watched several of these movies with these old commercials. It's fantastic. So I ended up getting this VHS tape. It's the movie once, and I just ended up watching it 12 times.
Right.
But it's got, these commercials. I would have been happy if this had been taped off the TV, a year ago or 2 years ago.
Right.
But it turns out this VHS tape was recorded decades ago. So
Yeah.
it was like its own time capsule with these old vintage Christmas commercials.
I have hundreds and hundreds of videos that I've recorded over the years, since going all the way back to when I was in high school in the 80s, and I prided myself on always taking the commercials out. I have hundreds of tapes and not a single commercial to be found, and now I would love to just have it documented the way it aired on TV. Would be so much more special at this point, but instead I've got 50 episodes of Murphy Brown, at 22 minutes with all the commercials taken out, or Simpsons, or whatever else it is.
Yeah, and that was sort of I've done that too, and that's sort of a point of pride is, being clever enough to be able to edit out all the commercials.
Being quick on the pause button with your thumb.
Yeah, and that was also part of the problem of me finding, a version of the movie with commercials was everybody edited the commercials out. Now
Right.
what am I going to do? So I was really happy to find one
Yeah.
copy.
That's awesome. I love going to thrift shops and Goodwills and looking for old movies and VHS and stuff, so I was really happy to read your adventures in finding an old VHS copy of it. And then when you start talking in the book about the old commercials, and you even say in the book, like, I wonder when this tape is from or whatever, and I got all excited, and I'm like, I'm going to find out what year this tape is from and email her and let her know and whatever, and then I could tell that your boyfriend was working on the same project, and then you even say it, and he had it in like 2 chapters later. He had the exact date of when the recording was from, like 89, I think, right?
Yeah, my mind is blown that we could actually determine exactly the exact day, the time and the day when this originally aired, and it wasn't during the marathon. It was it aired on TV even before the marathon began. But yeah, from sports scores there was like a sports break.
I remember those. Yeah, I don't if you taped anything off TBS now, really the only thing that would give away close to the date would be a movie trailer that says Start Friday, and you could go back and look up when that movie came out. But TV's so homogenized now; they don't do sports. You have to be watching ESPN to get sports scores. You're not getting ESPN on TBS anymore.
You're totally right. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. So in addition to recreating the marathon, you also take it a step further and recreate Christmas Day at your house to get the full experience.
Yeah, I put up the tree. I got a special Christmas Eve dinner. We usually get takeout, so I got takeout again.
That's awesome, yeah.
And yeah, I bought gifts, and I watched Charlie Brown Christmas the night before.
Nice.
That always puts me in the Christmas
Yeah.
spirit. And I invited a couple friends over, because we usually invite some friends over. Then I wanted to share it with friends, like
right.
I would on Christmas Day. And I recreated it in February, so I wanted to sort of everything that I could, including the commercials, including full 24 hours. I wanted to sort of create that feeling of anticipation and the excitement that always comes with Christmas and the marathon itself. And I think I did pretty good. I kept losing myself while I was watching the marathon. I kept losing myself. It does feel like Christmas. It is Christmas.
Right.
And this year we had snow, too.
Oh, yeah.
In February. And so that helped a lot. And
it's kind of like one of those movies where they keep waking up and it's Christmas Day all over again, which there's 20 or 30 of that movie.
Yeah.
So then you're watching it, and I love when I read the idea for the book, and I was telling my wife about it, and she's like, how's she going to write a book just about watching a movie? And I'm like, well, I'm sure she's watching the movie and then using this idea of the marathon to hang stories about the movie and facts, and that's kind of the framework of it. But the way you do it is really great, where, I mean, you're watching this movie over and over again, and you're not necessarily bored with it, but your mind just starts to wander, and if it wanders, you follow and go with it. Who's this actor? what exactly is Red Ryder from the BB gun, and you start doing the research and just kind of the book kind of reads like we're just following your train of thought while you're watching this in and out of the movie and going down the internet's highways of finding things out.
Yeah, and I'm glad you liked that and connected with that. And I not only interacted with the movie, and I was looking things up online. I had the second screen experience.
Right.
And I also looked up Little Orphan Annie.
Yeah.
And, Red Ryder. Who is this Red Ryder? But
right.
we take for granted, who is this guy? And as well as the actors. I also just sort of used it as a platform to discuss Christmas entertainment in general.
Yeah.
And also Christmas stories' place and impact in Christmas culture in general.
I mean, you go all over the place. Some of the side streets are just like, what else did this actor do? And then some of it is more lengthy stuff about the making of the movie or Christmas entertainment, and your vast knowledge of not only who's in what and what's out there, but just the impact that these things have had. And you said we watch Christmas entertainment differently than we do other programming, which clicked with me because I treat my Christmas specials and movies very sacredly. And, I'll watch Christmas Vacation every single year, but I also like, other movies that I might only watch once every 4, 5, 6, even longer years, because it's just the Christmas movies are also traditions and part of the security and the warmth of Christmas. It's cool to see somebody else identify that and say, yeah, we treat these things differently. These are part of our culture now.
You articulated that pretty well. I mean, Christmas is about a time for traditions, whatever those traditions are. Every family has its own traditions. But we also, as a culture, we engage with our Christmas entertainment as traditions. And so we frequently will watch the same animated specials or the same movies year after year. And that's exactly as you're saying. It's not the same as watching Star Wars. It's not the same as watching, the latest movie at the theater. We turn to these things to help us inspire, that Christmas feeling again, whether it's A Wonderful Life, which is 70 years old, and yet we watch it every year, or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, which is 50 years old.
Right.
We turn to these things again and again. We really do consume Christmas entertainment differently than we do other things. And in the book, too, another point, I have to sort of unfold nostalgia. Nostalgia is an important part of Christmas, but it's also an important part of Christmas entertainment, and especially A Christmas Story. So I spend a great deal of time pulling apart what is nostalgia and how it works in this movie.
Right.
And I found that discussion for myself as I was watching the movie and connecting with it and sort of trying to examine how this movie works for audiences. I found that utterly fascinating, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who will read this book and aren't necessarily actively obsessed with Christmas specials and have a Christmas movie box like I do and collect things, but you'll start to realize, hey, yeah, I do have these certain traditions with, like, Grandma comes over the week before Christmas and we watch Miracle on 34th Street or whatever the traditions are. We always, at our house, we always try to save Charlie Brown and Mickey's Christmas Carol for as close to Christmas Eve, if not Christmas Eve, as possible, depending on what's going on. But that's definitely like the big, okay, Christmas is coming, we're watching Charlie Brown and Mickey Mouse. And in the book, you also just really nicely set the Christmas, you're recreating Christmas at your house, and you talk about you and your boyfriend sitting on the floor, opening gifts. Very oddly enough, eating the orange sticky buns, which is the exact breakfast of choice in this house on Christmas morning, the orange sticky buns that come in a tube. Yeah, so I knew we were kindred spirits, but that really put it over the top. So the book just has like this nice, warm, fuzzy Christmas feeling while you're reading it. So much so that as I went on and on in the book, while I'm reading the book, I realized that I'm reading it to myself in Gene Shepard's narration voice. I mean, I know it's you talking, but I'm reading it like the narrator in the movie is while you're talking.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah. So yeah, it's just a great book. I'm like 75% done, as the Kindle said, but you can get the book on Amazon and through your website, ChristmasTVHistory.com?
ChristmasTVHistory.com. You can also get it through the publisher at 1701press.com.
Yeah, and we'll post links to all that on our social media so people can connect to that easily. So you watch a lot of... Yeah, definitely. You watch a lot of everything Christmas that comes your way, that comes on every year. You try to at least catalog it. I have to ask, though, do you watch and log all 7,000 Hallmark movies that come on every Christmas season?
I do.
Yeah?
I do. I mean, if it's Christmas, yes, I watch it. So all the Hallmark movies, all the Hallmark movies and mystery movies, all the Lifetime, Ion, Up, all those movies, and all the reality TV series Christmas episodes.
Oh, okay, cool.
There's all kinds of Real Housewives of New Jersey Christmas episodes, and also the children's. I mean, all the preschool.
Okay.
Entertainment. So I'm watching an awful lot of PBS. Come holiday season, I'm watching the PBS specials. And on Nick Jr. and Disney Jr. and all those as well.
That's crazy.
Yeah, all of it. Yeah.
But for my money, the best Christmas television is the old 50s and 60s, either specials or episodes. That's like the most holiday joy for your buck in my book. Some of that old stuff. I
think so too. That's what really gets me excited. And there's nothing like finding an old TV series, an old episode, old Christmas episode from an old TV series that I haven't seen 1 million times.
Right.
Oh my goodness, something new to research. Oh my goodness, something else to add to the database. It gets me really excited. I love watching old TV. So, that's the most exciting thing around here for me.
I love finding out that a show did a Christmas episode and that is available on DVD in a series set, so I still do the Netflix DVDs and go and see if I can find it through Netflix and just rent, disc 3 of the Doris Day Show, season 3 or whatever, just to find the Christmas episode and just slide that in, watch the Christmas one, and send it back and get the next DVD. But I love just finding all these little Christmas specials here and there. One of my new favorites that I just discovered a few years ago is an old show that I never even heard of until I stumbled upon it, called A Date with the Angels, starring Betty White. And
yes.
Are you familiar with that? Are you familiar with the Christmas episode?
Yeah, it's got Burt Mustin in it.
Awesome. And they go to the store, and first, for me, old department stores from the 40s, 50s is your maximum Christmas. I don't know what it is about old department stores captured in film. I love it. Like, that's just, to me, is like the ultimate. This is what Christmas was to people in the 40s, 50s. Model trains, and then just there's always a ton of model trains, and then just seeing all the different things that kids walk right by nowadays, like airplanes and balls and football, and go to video games, but just all the neat old toys. But Date with the Angels, the Christmas episode, they just spent most of it takes place in the department store, which I guess is why I love that one so much. Of course, Betty White's fantastic as well.
Yeah, she gets her neighbor a job as a department store Santa Claus.
Yes, and then her his son objects to her. His son objects to it and comes down. So if I were to have a list of just different TV shows that did Christmas episodes, you would more than likely be able to rattle off the plot, at least a vague plot line of what those were.
Embarrassingly, yes, probably.
No, that's awesome. I only wrote down a few, though, of my other favorite episodes, though, but the Alf special Christmas. Do you like Alf?
I do. There's 2 of them.
Yes.
There's one that's an hour long, and then there's one that's a half hour long. So there was the special and the episode.
The episode. And the special is filmed. It's not videotaped like the series, and it's like a little movie. It's the best. Well, one of my favorite sitcom tropes, as they say, is getting locked in the elevator and someone has a baby, which I think has been done 1,000 times, but they do that. Alf delivers a baby in the elevator, and then there's like the old man. I guess they kind of mimic It's a Wonderful Life, where the old man wants to jump off the bridge, and Alf's,
Yes, it gets a little dark.
So I also asked Joanna here if she wouldn't mind coming up with a list of some of her favorite Christmas movies, as we always ask our guests to bring some favorite movies. So we thought we would tailor it right to Christmas for this episode. And of course, at the top of the list was A Christmas Story. We've talked about it on this show several times, and people have had some great stories and how, like you said, how it's become part of their traditions. If you listen to our episode, I want to say, I should have wrote that down, but I think episode 12 with my friend Laura, she has some great stories about The Christmas Story. So let's talk about some of your favorite movies, the other favorite movies besides A Christmas Story. And of course, if you want to hear Joanna's take on A Christmas Story, you can read a whole book about it. But, and then, so you said, can I do TV movies too? Of course, TV movies are movies. And the first one on your list was The Homecoming, A Christmas Story from 1971. And I think this one kind of pops up on TV quite a bit still at the holiday season, doesn't it?
Yeah, especially upper tier cable networks, they'll trot it out.
Right.
And it was one of the, it was always on VHS tape. It was then one of the first on DVD. This movie has never really gone away. It's always sort of been accessible, which is fantastic. This movie was one of the ones that I remember, being very, very young, and it would air every year on TV, and being very excited, looking for it, and waiting for it to air, and it aired for many years in a row. And
for people that don't know, this movie predates the TV series The Waltons, but it spawned the Walton series. Do you know, is this movie a pilot for the TV show, or did the TV show become a thing because the movie was so popular?
Yeah, it wasn't a pilot technically because it didn't pitch a series. Instead, what happened was they just made this TV movie, and it became so popular, network execs were like, hey, let's turn this into a TV series. So they hired all the children again for the series the following year, and then recast the adults.
Oh, okay. I'm reading the cast list while I'm writing down some notes. Edgar Bergen is in the movie?
He's the grandfather.
Yeah, and people probably don't know even people our age don't know who Edgar Bergen is anymore, but not only is it Candice Bergen's father, he was a famous ventriloquist. Was he I think he moved his mouth, but he was a puppeteer. He was a ventriloquist.
Yeah.
So, and I love Edgar Bergen. So I saw him, and I have to ask, I'm sure I know the answer, but are there puppets in this movie?
No. No, he just plays Grandpa Walton and, the lovable, rascally,
Because if there was puppets in it, I would go out and buy the whole series tonight and sit down and binge it. So yeah, and then the Waltons ran for 9 seasons, but this movie started it all. So tell us real quick, what is the movie about, though? It doesn't necessarily set up a series. It's just its own standalone piece.
Yeah, and it's just a Depression-era story about a father and a family who live in the Appalachian Mountains in Virginia. And the father has had to, because it's the Depression, he's had to leave town in order to find work. But he comes home on the weekends and as often as he can. And so the family now, it's Christmas Eve, the family is waiting for their father to come home from his city job to stay with them for Christmas, and he's late. And so they send out their oldest son, John Boyd, to go look for the father. And so the whole movie is about waiting for the father to come back so that the family can start their Christmas celebration, and about the struggles of, living through the Depression in Appalachia. It's a heartwarming tale, and grab your tissues. It always makes me cry.
Yeah.
And that's one of its charms, is it's very emotional and it's poignant.
So this is 71, so it's about 45, 6 years old. Would you say you've seen this almost every year since you can remember, or does this only come out every once in a while?
Well, probably not every year, but I have seen it an awful lot. And it certainly was, that and the movie House Without a Christmas Tree. Those two were the 70s TV movies that, I first really anticipated and looked forward to watching on Christmas. When I watched those movies, I knew it was Christmas. It felt like Christmas. And those are the ones that I, sort of bonded with. Now, as an adult, I continue to seek out because it helps me recapture, those feelings of Christmas again.
And, you mentioned The House Without a Christmas Tree, which was next on your list, and it's from the following year, 1972, aired in December, also on CBS, like The Waltons. I feel like, Christmas movies used to be so much more of a network mainstay. Christmas programming in general was very network oriented. Well, of course, that's all we had back then was the networks, but now that's all kind of moved to your Hallmarks and everything. But these were big deals, and everybody was watching. When this movie was on, everybody was watching it. It probably got high ratings for numerous years in a row. So this one stars Jason Robards, who was kind of a TV movie mainstay in the 70s. And I heard that this is quite the tearjerker.
It is, and it's kind of funny to sort of admit that as a child, I'm talking 6 years old, 5, 6, 7 years old. I really looked forward to watching this, and now I watch it as an adult, and I'm like, the emotions in this that are communicated in this movie are like really complex.
Right.
And I can't believe I really bonded with this as a 6-year-old. What in the world was I thinking? But apparently there was enough in there to entertain me when I was that young.
I feel like when we were younger, our TV watching was different than now because we didn't have everything geared. We didn't have hardly anything geared to us except Saturday morning cartoons and like Sesame Street. So you just watched what was on at nighttime, and you just watched it, and you were watching cop shows or heavy dramas because you watched what your parents watched, or you had those sensibilities because you weren't used to everything being geared right towards you, a 6-year-old. So you went and found out, you found what you liked. And
totally, and exactly. And
right.
When I was a kid, there was so little children's entertainment.
Yeah.
You just grew up watching the adult programming,
right,
and connected with it. I remember, my mother suggesting that I watch Sesame Street, and I remember saying, "Well, it's for babies," because I was just so used to watching,
right,
the entertainment that was geared more towards adult taste, even though I was only, 5, 6, 7 years old. And apparently I connected with House Without a Christmas Tree, too, which is also very sophisticated and complex.
It's about a guy who just lost his wife? Is that what?
Yeah, a 10-year-old girl. Her name is Addie. She doesn't understand why her father has forbid her from having a Christmas tree. And when she wins a free tree in a classroom drawing, she gives it away to a needy family in her neighborhood rather than bring home this Christmas tree. She doesn't understand why her father rejects Christmas, and ultimately her. She takes this personally. And as the story unfolds, we learn that her mother died, and his wife, her mother, has passed away several years prior, and he always thinks of her and this loss and this death at Christmas time, so he doesn't want a Christmas tree to remind him of his missing wife. And so it's not a rejection of his 10-year-old daughter. It's, trying to distract himself and push away those feelings of grief. Unfortunately, she's getting a bad message of rejection from this lack of Christmas spirit
right.
in her father, and eventually they resolve things in the end. But this is fairly heavy stuff.
Right.
And now I watch it as an adult, and I'm just like weeping.
Right. It sounds like a 3-box of tissue movie. It sounds pretty heavy, and it's only like 75 minutes or something. So there's pack a lot of emotion into a brief time frame there.
Exactly.
And it won the Emmy for Outstanding Writing that year. I also read that it was shot on videotape, which for people that aren't TV nerds like us, that's like a soap opera is filmed on videotape, and you don't see anything on network TV anymore filmed on videotape. So to have a movie shot on videotape, to me that's awesome, because I love that old aesthetic of watching old videotape. But that made me want to definitely seek it out when I saw that. I was like, because you just never see TV movies shot on videotape anymore at all. And I actually found this. I was looking for both of these, the Waltons movie and the House Without a Christmas Tree, online because I didn't have a whole lot of time to prep, and I wanted to see if I could just get it off of Amazon. And neither of these did I see on Amazon. But I actually saw The House Without a Christmas Tree on a double DVD at Walmart this year in their Christmas section, whatever, like the planogram they have for Christmas movies this year. You can find a double DVD with the original House Without a Christmas Tree and some other old TV movie. So that's pretty cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is another one of those weird movies that has always been accessible. It was on VHS tape. It's been on DVD forever, so I must not be the only one that loves these old classics.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
And then I found a really cool little piece of trivia, which of course you probably know, but this might connect the movie for somebody. If you remember on Saturday Night Live, the old Mary Catherine Gallagher sketches where Molly Shannon would play the Catholic schoolgirl who was a klutz and she used to smell her armpits and all that stuff. The Christmas... Do you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the Christmas sketch that they did, which is always rerun on Saturday Night Live Christmas specials, and it's on the DVD, but with Whitney Houston and Rosie O'Donnell are also in the sketch, and Mary Catherine Gallagher always quotes usually a TV movie, and this is the movie that she quotes. She does like a whole monologue from the movie. This is the movie, The House Without a Christmas Tree, which she identifies while she's talking about it in the movie, or in the sketch. And then a couple other movies that you mentioned that everybody knows, but Miracle on 34th Street, which from 1947, I never saw this as a kid. I never saw this until my mid-30s. And I think I fell in love with it maybe like the second year I watched it again. And that now it's like a staple for me. And I know it used to be on after the Macy's parade every day, every Thanksgiving. Never watched it. Did you watch this as a kid too, I would imagine?
I did, and I watched it right after the parade.
Right.
Yeah, and and it's got that wonderful association with the parade.
Yeah.
The movie starts with the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Kris Kringle in the movie makes himself the Santa Claus in the parade. He connects with a woman who's, the parade manager, the parade host somehow. She's an employee of Macy's, and so he connects with her and her child. And so, yeah, that's a part of the movie, and so it makes it for a wonderful viewing right there at Thanksgiving. It's a great way to start the holiday season. And yeah, I ended up watching Macy's parade every year on TV. That's my thing. I've been doing that forever. Everything has to stop.
Yes.
Everything that happens on Thanksgiving Day, which is a very busy day. I know I'm always right in front of the TV during the parade. That's an important ritual for me.
Yeah.
And so connecting with this movie is an extension of that parade, and it's a fun experience.
Did you like the 1994 remake of A Christmas Story, or Miracle on 34th Street?
It's okay. I prefer the original 47. I grew up watching the original 47.
It's kind of one of the...
I still want to watch the original.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those movies that didn't need to be remade. I mean, they say that about everything, but this one still has a lot of life left in it. It's like remaking Wizard of Oz. There's absolutely no point. The original got it right the first time. An interesting thing about this movie, it's such a Christmas film. It was originally released in May of that year, of 1947. So the studio, I think, didn't have much faith in the film, so they just kind of snuck it out there in the middle of the summer and kind of kept the Christmas element quiet. But now it's such a huge part of our Christmas culture. Kind of interesting. It was directed by a guy named George Seaton, who also directed the fantastic Airport 1970 film. So... just throw that out there.
Yay!
Yeah, you like Airport?
Absolutely.
Yeah, those are great. And then real quick, your last film on your list was Scrooged with Bill Murray from 1988. Would you say this? I mean, if this is one of your favorite Christmas movies, this must be your favorite Christmas Carol adaptation. Is that safe to say?
It is. I love comedies,
Yeah.
Especially Christmas. It's great to laugh, and it's a nice distraction. And Bill Murray, come on.
Right.
I mean, this movie is so irreverent and silly. It's a nice, he captures that perfectly. And it's just jam-packed with all kinds of stars.
You got Karen Allen.
Yeah, it came out in 88, so there's all kinds of amazing people in it. Everybody from Carol Kane to David Johansen, Alfre Woodard.
Oh, yeah.
Bobcat Goldthwait. Even Robert Mitchum.
Robert
late
Mitchum.
in his career.
Who's got his own holiday classic, Holiday Affair, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And another movie that takes place in a department store.
There you go. So do you have boxes and boxes and boxes of videotapes and DVDs? And
I kind of do, yeah.
That's awesome. For people like us, it's fun for me to go on your website and see you write about something, and it's like, okay, I've got to find that, and it's not as easy as it used to be where you go to the video store. You got to get resourceful to find some old things, whether it be Netflix or Goodwill or hunting the YouTube or whatnot. So it's a lot of fun to find these old Christmas stuff. So, Joanna, thank you very, very much for your time and doing the show with us today and talking about extra stuff besides just your book, but some of your favorite movies and TV shows. It was very much fun.
It's been my pleasure.
Yeah, and your website is ChristmasTVHistory.com, all one word. And you do blogging there, and then there's also links to your books. You have an appearance schedule, and of course, November, December is your busy time. So there's a whole bunch of things, and you're in the Canton and Akron area of Ohio. I don't know where those.
Yeah, I live in Northeast Ohio. I'm right between. I live in Akron, but I'm right between Canton and Cleveland, and I've got all kinds of Northeast Ohio appearances,
including
scheduled book signings.
Couple of theatrical screenings of A Christmas Story on Thanksgiving weekend, which looks really cool.
Couple actually in Canton and another in Akron, where they're showing A Christmas Story, and I'm going to be there talking about the movie and selling my books.
That's
I'm
awesome.
looking forward to that. That'll be fun.
I would come if it wasn't like a 10-hour drive, but from us if you're in Pennsylvania. So if you want to purchase some of Joanna's books, including Triple Dog Dare, Watching and Surviving the 24-Hour Marathon of A Christmas Story, you can find that on the website. And what was the publisher website again? Was
1701 Press, 1701press.com.
And you can buy the book both in print and the digital copy on Amazon, and we'll post all that stuff. And people can find you on Twitter at Tis the Season TV. Is that correct? Yeah. And you post all kinds of good Christmas stuff there too, so all year long. So yeah, thanks very much for your time, and hope you enjoy your Christmas season. I'm sure you will.
Thanks. You too.
And if you guys enjoyed the show, please consider subscribing to What's Your Favorite Movie. You can find the show on iTunes and Spreaker, as well as various other podcast apps and directories. And if you could be so kind as to leave us a review on iTunes, that would be wonderful as well. You can also keep up with What's Your Favorite Movie on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We have new episodes the first and third Wednesday of each month. Sharing the show on social media or telling your friends about us is a great way to help the show grow. So thanks for listening, everybody. Thank you, Joanna.
Thank you.
All right. And until next time, everybody, it's khaki wishes and cookie dreams. Bye-bye.